Right. Good evening to everyone who have attended the live class today. And today we are continuing the nine competency. And on last week, if you can remember, we discussed uh, about the bank account. Bank account, right? Especially, I told you, in a bank account, we normally record the deposits of checks, deposits of cash, and the payments made through the check. So today, Puta, I'm taking you to the second part of the lesson. We are moving to part 2 of the lesson, and that is bank reconciliation statement. Puta, when I was preparing this tune, I was thinking, what is the best way? Because this is a brand new lesson to you. You have never discussed anything like this before. Therefore, I was thinking, what is the best way where I can introduce this lesson to the kids, right? So I have prepared a beautiful presentation, and I'm starting the proceedings with a point where it will not be discussed by other students, other teachers, maybe. So before that, let me share the presentation. My presentation in there. Give me a minute. Right. Give me a minute. Right. Right. Today, we are in the ninth competency, part 2. And today is the first time where we discuss the bank reconciliation statement. Bank reconciliation statement. Today, do you know, in a bank, in a bank, do you know, a person may be an individual or maybe a business can open 3 types of deposits. It can open 3 types of deposits. The first one is savings account. I think we all are aware of that, and I think most of you have a savings account in a commercial bank, maybe. And the next one is Puta, fixed deposit. So you better write these 3. Number 1, savings account. Number 2, fixed deposit. And the third one is Puta, current account. Okay, these are the 3 types of deposits where an individual or right, a business can open in a commercial bank. Savings, fixed and current. Okay, write down these 3. Right, deposits. First one, here you have to write savings. Here you have to write fixed deposits, and here you have to write current accounts. The current accounts. Today, my next point, do you know, once you open a fixed deposit, once you open a savings account, the bank provides you with a passbook. Okay, just raise your hand. If you have a savings account, please raise your hand. If you have a savings account, okay, Dunit is having a savings account. Who else? Who else? I think most of the students have, because parents normally open a savings account for their kids. Okay, Oshani, very good. Who else? Who else? Then I'm asking this question from Duniti and Oshani. Pute, have you seen a bank passbook? Have you seen a bank passbook? Pute? Have you seen? No. Pute, listen to me. Bank passbook is, right, a small book which is given by the bank to update the transactions with the bank and the, right, sorry, the savings account and the bank. It is updated at the counter of the bank. Passbook. And do you know, once you open a savings account, what you receive? A passbook. And once you open a fixed deposit, the bank gives you a certificate. Deposit certificate. If you like, after this session, ask your parents. They will explain it nicely. Savings account, you receive a passbook. For a fixed deposit, you receive a certificate. And do you know, for the current account, what you receive? Once you open a current account, you receive a checkbook. Checkbook. Right? Savings account, here you can write. Passbook, here you can write a certificate. Here you can write a checkbook. Now, Puta, do you know the problem we have? We are concentrating only on the current accounts. Okay, we are concentrating on what? Current account. So hereafter, whenever I say a bank account, always remember that we are discussing only on a current account. Remember that. So in this lesson, we are not discussing the savings account or the fixed deposits. We are concentrating on current accounts. That is something to be, right, said. Now the next point. Puta, what is a current account? Mokadda me current account එකක් කියන්නේ. You write down this is red pen. Now, බලන්න මම පාඩම් පටන් ගත්ත විදිය. I told you, right, listen to me today. I told you that a person or an individual or a business can open 3 types of deposits. Deposits තුනක් open කරන්න පුළුවන්. Savings, fixed and current. And I told you in this competency, we are concentrating on current account. So let me explain what is a current account. It is an account which allows doing transactions via checks. It is a very simple and a straightforward definition, children. It's a very simple and a straightforward definition. Puta, listen to me. It is an account which allows doing transactions via checks. Write it down and highlight the last part. Write it down. Okay, great. Today, and the next point is very important. Bank account. Bank account, underline this. Bank account, right, is an asset to the business. Bank account is an asset to the business. And don't forget, right? You deposit your money in a bank account. Do you know? To the bank, it is a liability. Because this money belongs to you. Right? Let me share the whiteboard now. Then හැමෝම මේක concentrate කරලා අහගන්න. පුතේ, let's say that you have deposited rupees 50,000 in the bank. Let's say now you are the business and I am the bank. And the business එක තමයි ඔයා. අපි මෙහෙම කරමු. පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න. Right? Business has deposited 50,000. And right, it is deposited where? In the bank, right? Bank. So bank also has received rupees 50,000. Okay, try to understand. This 50,000 belongs to whom? To the business. Therefore, business recognizes it as an asset. That is why I told you, to the business, the deposited money is an asset. Asset. Okay. But to the bank, the cash or the money is with the bank, but the bank doesn't have the ownership. Therefore, bank is responsible to pay the money whenever the account holder has asked for it. Therefore, that is what I told you, to the bank, this money is a liability. This money is a liability. Asset and a liability. So, I think you have written it. I'm taking to the next one, next topic. Today. What are the types of transactions that it can take place in a bank account? Once again, here the bank account is a current account. Current account. First one, you can deposit cash in the bank. It is given. It is given. Today, right? You can deposit cash in the bank. Not only that, you can deposit checks in the bank account. Today, the webcam current. So we are going to lose the power for 1.5 hours. So I want to save the battery. I thought of not sharing the webcam. So if I do that, I have noticed if I do not share the webcam, I can use it extra from extra 20 or 25 minutes. Okay, so that is why I am not switching off the webcam. Most of these days I couldn't start the webcam because I'm using the laptop and a mobile hotspot to conduct the session, right? For all the sessions, for all the classes, even for A-levels, right? So try to tolerate and stay in the meeting, right? And then if you have a bank account, bank current account, you can issue checks to make different types of payments. This is the third one. Issuing checks for different payments. Third. Okay. These are the possible transactions. Sometimes in a bank account, you can observe dishonored checks. Dishonored checks are also possible, right? And then don't forget, you know, the bank is providing you with a service. When the opening a bank current account is it's a facility provided by the bank to the customer. Therefore, for that facility, for providing that facility, the bank is making different types of charges. Right? But most of the time, these charges are not charged for savings account and the fixed deposits. Okay, for those accounts, the bank gives you an interest, but not for the current. Not for the current. Are we clear? Great. And the next one is standing order payments. It means, you can give direct orders to the bank to pay an amount to another account on behalf of your business. That is what you mean by standing order payments. These standing order payments, these standing order payments can be provided even for the savings accounts. Okay, great. Charges made by the banks. And the next is direct deposits made by customers. Do you know, right? It is like a savings account. Anybody can deposit money. I think you know, if you like, even anyone, any person can deposit money in your for an example, now you pay the fees. You are making the deposit to my savings account. It means you are making direct deposits. See, but that account is a savings account of mine. You can do the same thing for the current accounts too. My direct deposits. So these are the types of transactions which can take place in a bank account. Bank reconciliation statement, right? So we have discussed about the types of accounts that can be opened in a commercial bank. Then I have told you we are concentrating on current account today. We have defined a current account, and these are the transactions which can be take place through a bank current account. Okay, good. Do you know, for the money which is deposited by the business, right? The business is making a record. Okay, business record. We have discussed about that record in the first part of this lesson, and that is called as the bank account. Bank account is the record which is kept by the business to record the transactions related with the bank account. Now, who maintains the bank account? Bank account business. Business is the person, business is the entity which uses the bank account to record the transactions. And do you know, the bank is also updating the transactions in a record. And do you know, that record is called as bank statement. Okay, the record bank statement. Bank statement. And children, this statement is updated by the bank to record the transactions related with the bank account. Okay, are we clear? Are we clear, Puta? Right. Now, let me take you to the presentation. Let's see, what does it mean by bank account and bank statement? Make a point for me. Bank account is a record which is prepared and maintained by the business, in which it records all the transactions related with the current account. That is what you mean by bank account. And the bank statement is a record which is maintained by the bank, in which it records all the transactions related with the current account of an account holder. Okay, ලස්සන්ට වරද්ද ගන්න නැතුව ඔය දෙක රතු පෑනින් මෙන්න මෙතන ලියා ගන්න පැටියෝ. පොඩි දෙයක් තියෙන්නේ. What is a bank account and what is a bank statement? You have 2 minutes. Start it now. ලස්සන්ට දැම්මම ලියා ගන්න. Okay, listen to me while you are writing. Right. Today I was explaining to all the classes. Today I had classes for, so I have periods in my school for 4 classes, 10, 11, 12, 13. So in all those classes, I was telling them, right, as your teacher, I am, this is my life, teaching. Okay, I'm doing everything that is possible to teach you, right? See, I'm making presentations, right? This is an extra burden for me. In fact, it's an extra work, but I'm doing it with 100% willingness. I'm making the tutorials, right? So I need, right, a response for this, a favorable response over this particular effort. That is your commitment. Okay, because I have seen that there are some students who are not attending the classes regularly. I think at least some have informed me that they can't attend the live class, so I have permitted them to watch the recorded session, and I think that they are watching the recorded session, right, Pute? But if it is possible, try your best to attend the live class. See, we have around 22 students in the class, just 8 are present today for the live class. 8. Okay, but anyway, I think this is an online class, we know that, but I think at least you are watching the recorded session. There should be no one else to tell you what you have to do now. Now you have to study, you have to go and study. No, right? Please make sure that you answer, that you concentrate on what you have to do. Right. Have you finished this? Right. Now, once again, listen to me, right? Once the transactions are taken place, business, right? Business, listen to me. Business users, business records them in a bank account. Business records them in a bank account. Business record karnawa bank account. And the bank is updating that in the bank statement according to their different viewpoints. Okay, business prepares the bank account on business's viewpoint, and the bank updates the bank statement on the viewpoint of the bank. They ask you to define, right? Sorry, they ask you to define a bank statement. It is a record which is maintained by the bank, so mention it. It is a record maintained by the bank to record the transactions related with the current account. Am I clear with you? Great. Okay. Jevin, good evening today. Right. So I think you are ready with the tutorial. Right. Now, let's concentrate how the bank and the business records the different types of transactions. I told you, when the bank account is prepared, right? Okay, Buddha, okay, concentrate now. We have discussed a few points. You can get the recording later. Okay, now listen to me. I'm going to teach, I'm going to explain. Then we can have a කොහොමද business එකයි බැංකුවයි transactions ටික record කරන්නේ. හරිද පුතා? Right. දැන් මෙන්න මේක හොඳට අහගෙන ඉන්න ඕන ළමයි. පුතේ. Recording transactions. I told you no. Puta, hold on for a second. Right. I told you, Naputa, it can take place different types of transactions. Now, the first transaction, deposit of cash. Cash deposits. Pute, business records the deposit of cash in the bank account. Look at this. It is debited to the bank account as the assets increases. When, now listen to me, who updates the bank account? The business, right? I told you that the current account is an asset of the business. Therefore, when you deposit cash, it is debited to the bank account. I think we have done this in the previous part of the lesson. Api deposits monada kale puta, we debited that to the bank accounts. Okay. And do you know, in the bank statement, the bank statement credited to the bank, right? When the checks are deposited, the bank is credited them to the bank statement as their liability increases. Those who are with me from the beginning, I told you, right, how important the double entry principles lesson is. Now we apply the double entry principles here. We apply the double entry principles. Okay, good. Write this down. So if you have missed something, don't be afraid. You will get the recording. And once again, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Hurry, right, hurry up. I'm having a cup of tea. Yeah? And children, right, these days be little bit cautious because again there is kind of a viral flu spreading, right, especially among the kids, not especially the small kids, right? So be very careful. Be very careful because some students whom I know personally, they have been hospitalized. So once again, please take necessary precautions, right? It is my advice is, even though it is not a rule, try to wear the mask always. That will protect you because nose and the mouth is right the areas where you can be attacked with different types of viruses, bacteria, and everything. Okay, so please wear the mask always. Even that is not a rule in Sri Lanka now. Okay, good. Right to that. The next one, second point, deposit of checks. Now I'm going to teach you how we have to update the deposit of checks in the bank account and in the bank statement. Same thing. When you deposit a check, it increases assets of the business, so the business debits that amount to the bank account. And once the check is realized or realized to the bank, it is credited to the bank statement as their liabilities increases. Everything has a reason. Pute, deposit of cash debited to the bank account. Credited to the bank statement. Now we are in the second one, deposit of checks. Debited and credited. Last මං කියවනේ මම උගන්වන්නේ පුතේ අනිත් අය උගන්වන විදිහට ඒවා චුට්ටක් වෙනස්. So before I concentrating on the calculations, I want you to emphasize on the theory. So this is what I'm doing today. Okay, Buddha? Great, great. Near mine. So write this down quickly. In the second point, deposit of checks. Right? Third one, issue of checks. When the checks are issued to make various payments, I'm going to explain how the bank or the business records it and how the bank records it. Once again, try to memorize. Bank account is updated by the business and bank statement is updated by the bank. Issue of checks. But when the checks are issued, right, the asset decreases, the balance of the bank account goes down. Then what happens? It is required to be credited to the bank account as the assets decreases. And to the bank statement, it is debited as their liability decreases. Mataka the principal sticker. Decrease in liability debit, increase in liability credit. Okay. Increase in asset debit, decrease in asset credit. බලන්න පුතා කොච්චර පැහැදිලිද බලන්න පුතේ. You don't want to learn these things by heart because it is so practical. Write this down. තංගල් ලියා ගන්න. තංගල් ලියා ගන්න. Okay, great. Next one. Charges made by the bank. Today, do you know it is initially recorded in the bank statement? ඒක මුලින්ම record කරන්නේ බැංකුව. So far, the other three things what we have discussed now: cash deposits, checks deposits, and checks issues. Do you know they are initially recorded by the business, but charges they are initially recorded by the bank. Therefore, once the bank has made a charge, what are the examples of charges? Listen to me. Bank charges, checkbook charges. Right? Interest on overdrawn balances. They are the different types of charges. Okay, or charges on dishonored checks. These are initially charged by the bank or recorded by the bank. And do you know how do they record it? They reduce it from your account. Then what we have to do? They are debited to the bank statement. Why is it debited? I told you these things are deducted from your account. So they are debited to the bank statement as the liability decreases. Okay. And the next one, bank account. Bank account. They are credited to the bank account as the assets decreases. Bank account credited to the bank account as their assets decreases. ලස්සනට ලියා ගන්න. පුළුවන් නම් පුතේ මේ පැත්තට number 1 කියලා දාගන්නකො. Number 1, number 2. What am I කියන්නේ පුතේ? The first step is taken by the bank. The charges initially they are recorded in the bank statement. Then only they are recorded in the bank account. Okay, අපි next week යනවා පුතා මේකේ ලස්සන calculations වගේක් තියෙනවා නේද? හැම දෙයක්ම ඉගෙන ගන්න කලින් ලස්සනට මේ foundation එක දාගන්න. Then you can discuss the calculations. But in all levels, you will never get difficult calculations on these things. Try to understand. Okay. Good. Charges. But I'm explaining the next one. That is standing order payments. That means, Puta, as I told you previously, the account holder can give orders to the bank to pay an amount to another account on behalf of him. And do you know, even the standing orders are initially recorded in the bank statement. මුලින්ම record වෙන්නේ පුතා bank statement එකේ. ඒක මතක තියාගන්න. They are initially recorded where? In the bank statement. හරි? Right. Today, it's a payment. Try to think. Bank statement. Who can tell me? Bank statement is debited or credited? Can someone think and tell me? When the bank records a standing order payment, how do you record? How the bank records it in the bank statement? Is it debited or credited? Kalpana karala kiyana balana. Think and tell me. Jevin, Herschel, Duniti, Dinel, Netmi, anyone in the class? Amir, what do you think? Is it debited to the bank statement or credited to the bank statement? Right? Amir says credited. Any other answers? Any other answers? හරි අහගන්න අමිර අහගන්න පුතේ වැරදි පොඩ්ඩක් ඕක කමන්නේ දන්නේ නෑනේ. පුතා, it's a payment. Okay? Standing order payment. ඔය වචනේ මොකද තියෙනවා? So it is a payment which is made by the bank on behalf of the business. You know what happens? The bank debits the bank statement as the liability decreases. Okay, the bank statement debit, and later it is updated to the bank account. What do the business do now? The business has to credit the bank account as the assets decreases. Yeah. Credited to the bank account as the assets decreases. Yeah. Yeah. හරිද? Once again, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Huh? Right. ඊළඟ එක. Direct deposits. Do you know even the direct deposits are initial record in the bank statement? Who can tell me? Direct deposits. Is it debited to the bank statement or credited? Then කල්පනා කරලා කියන්න. Think and tell me. Then හැමෝම හිතන්න පුරුදු වෙන්න පුතා. මම එක හැම වෙලෙම කියන්නේ. You must train yourself to think, not to learn the things by heart. That won't work. Previous one was what was the previous one? Standing order payment. It was debited. Now this is a direct deposit. Who can tell me the how it records in the bank statement? Anyone in the class? Ashani? Now the bank statement is credited. Very good. That is perfect. To the bank statement, the direct deposits are credited. Why? It's a deposit. The liability of the business goes up, increases. Therefore, bank statement, right? Sorry, the direct deposits are credited to the bank statement. Remember that. Okay. And later to the bank account, it is debited. It is debited. Are we clear? Are we clear now? Debited to the bank account as the assets increase, and the next is credited to the bank account, bank statement, as the liability increases. Are we clear? Are we clear? බලන්න හරිද කියලා. Right. ඊළඟ එක. Deposited dishonored checks. Let's move to the tutorial and see. අපි මොනවද කරලා ඉවර කියලා බලන්න. හරි. Right. Deposited dishonored checks. Last one. තව දෙකයි තියෙන්නේ. අහගෙන ඉන්න පැටි. පුතා, even it is initially updated in the bank statement. හරි. පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න පුතා. චුට්ටක් කොහොම ඉන්න. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න චුට්ටක්. පුතේ. මම පොඩි දෙයක් කියනවා. අපි මේ දෙක කතා නොකරමු. Right, for a reason. පුතා මෙන්න මේ දෙක මෙන්න මේ කොටස සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කපලා අයින් කරන්න. Both 7 and 8. Right. මේක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අයින් කරගන්න. Remove it completely. Remove it completely. මම මේක වෙනම කතා කරන්න. හරිද? Remove it please. Right? Remove it. Right. I have removed it. Huh? I have removed it. Right. Now you have to complete the following table. Right. Then make a tag gala karana balanna. ඔයා ලියපු දෙයත් එක compare කරලා, right? Try to compare it. Hurry up. You have to say whether the bank account as a result of cash deposits, debit or credit. Bank statement, debit or credit. You have 2 minutes now. Start it. There are may high diha balla. This is summary. Just write debit, credit, those two words only. Yeah? Start it now. Start it now. හැමෝම වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ පුතේ මං කිව්වේ අපි පුතේ හැම වෙලේම මතක තියාගන්න දෙයක් කරද්දී concentration is very important. Concentration and awareness. Hurry up. Start it now. Have you finished? Now check your answers. Now check your answers, please. Cash deposits, bank account debit, bank statement credit. Practically once a check is deposited, bank account is debited, bank statement is credited. හරිද? මම උන ලියලම දෙන්නම් මේ අහගන්න. පොඩක් අහගන්න. Right? පුතේ bank account මම මෙතන ලියනවා number 1 කියලා. මොකද මුලින්ම entry කියන්නේ මෙතන. Debit. And then bank statement. Number 2, credit. Number 1 and 2, bank account debit, bank statement credit. මේ double entry complete වෙන එකක් නෙමෙයි හොඳද? And then check deposits. The same method. Initially it is recorded in, right? It is initially recorded in the bank account debit, and later it is as the second step. It is credited to the bank statement. ඊළඟට cash withdrawals. පුතා first it is recorded in the bank account. They cannot cash withdraw කරන්න. It is credited. And to the bank statement it is debited. Debit. And the next is issued checks for different payments. Puta, once again, the first step is made in the bank account. And do you know what is it? It is the first step. It is credited. Bank account credited. And later it is debited to, right? Debited to the bank statement. And the next one, make a puta. First, the first step is recorded where? First step is recorded in the bank statement. And do you know what happens? The bank statement debit. And here, the second step is available in the bank account now. And the bank account credits it. Okay, may number and the last one is direct remittance. A debtor of the business has made a direct deposit in the bank. Do you know? It is initially recorded in the bank statement, and the bank statement is credited. And later it is, right, it is credited. Sorry, it is debited, debited to the bank account. ඔන්න තියෙනවා summary එක. දැන් පැටියෝ ඊළඟ සතියේදී මේ ටික හොඳට බලන්න ඕන. මොකද ඊළඟ සතියේ මම කෙලින්ම calculations වලට යන්නේ. Right? So I told you my method is little bit different to teach the subject. හරිද? So this is the foundation. Okay, you have to understand, you memorize. Who prepares the bank account? Who prepares the bank statement? And how it records? Everything is important. Okay, everything is important. Now, let me show you the format of the bank account. මම පුතාලට පෙන්නන්නේ bank account එකේ format එක. Right? Now listen to me. Once again, now we have to use in bank reconciliation statement. Do you know the speciality? We have to compare the record maintained by the business and the record maintained by the bank. First, let me tell you the format of a bank account. We have discussed about this. This format is called as the bank account, and it is updated by the business. Okay, Putal, listen to me. I think I have told this to you, right? The business is updating this, right? Concentrating the double entries applied for assets. For the moment, listen to me. This is updated by the business, concentrating on the principles of double entries for assets. Assets. Increase debit, decrease credit. Harida, right. And the next. Make it a debit side. Is the debit side, and this is the credit side. And then let me show you the format of a bank statement. Now, who updates the bank statement? Make a bank statement update currently? Yes, it is updated by the bank. Do you know the format of it? I'll make an explication bank statement table. This is the format. There is a column to record the date. Then description, debit, credit, and we update the balance afterwards. All formats next week by using an activity. I'm concentrating. I'll be preparing the bank account and also the bank statement. Right? Bank account, once again, listen to me. Bank account is prepared by the business, while the bank statement is updated by the bank. And do you know, children? Bank statement. I told you these two are required to be compared. And the comparison goes like this. The debit side of the bank account is compared against the credit column of the bank statement. Because the things which have been debited to the bank account, it was credited to the bank statement. So we have to compare the debit side of the bank account against the credit column of the bank statement. Credit side of the bank account should be compared with the debit column of the bank statement. ඔන්න ඔය relationship එකත් මතක තියාගන්න පැටි. Is that clear to you? Is that clear to you? Great. හරිද? ඔන්න අද දවසේදී මම පුතාට ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙනුවා. හරි? පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න. First, I told you that we can maintain 3 types of deposits in a commercial bank: savings, fixed and current. And I told you in this lesson, in this competency, we are concentrating on current accounts. Then what is the current account? I told you current account is an account which facilitates to transact via the checks. There also I told you current account is an asset to the business and a liability to the bank. So I'm summarizing today's session now. And these are the transactions that can be recorded through a bank current account. There are cash deposits, check deposits, issue check payments for checks. And then we have dishonored checks, charges made by the bank, standing order payments, direct deposit. Right? Then I define the bank account and the bank statement. I told you, bank account is a record which is updated by the business to record the transactions available with the bank. And the bank statement is updated by the bank. And how the transactions are recorded by the business and the bank. Debit credit. Other part of the monkey one. The preparation making pantheon. Then I gave you the summary of the table. I have removed 2 things here. I removed the last 2. So we have removed the last 2 things. And the next one is Puta. The format of the bank account. This is updated by the bank, the business. And this is the format of the bank statement. It is updated by the bank. Finally, I told you, in comparing these 2 things, the debit side of the bank account is compared against the credit column of the bank statement, and credit side of the bank account is compared against the debit column of the bank statement. So I think it is clear to everyone in the class what is a bank account and what is a bank statement. Okay, so next week I'm concentrating on how to prepare the bank account and bank statement using the provided information. Later, I'm explaining how to compare these 2 statements with each other. Right? And children, now today is 26th of September. If you have not made the payment, you can make deposit any day you like. But now the month is about to over. So please make sure that you deposit the money, the fees in time, and send me the deposit details on the same day. So don't wait until I inform you personally, right? So I'll be informing, those who have not made the payment personally, around 20 or tonight if I get up, if it is possible. So please make the deposit in time. And that's all for today. Until we meet again on next week, stay safe. Good night and may God bless you. Thank you very much for your participation. Good night.